This is the World Organic News Podcast for the week ending 2nd of May 2016. John Moore reporting. This week we'll start by looking at the oft-ignored source of energy, waves. The blog Technograph magazine has a post on this very interesting area of research and energy production. Wave energy seems almost a no-brainer. The sea never stops moving, tides every day, and, importantly, every night. You get the picture. Seawater, though, is very corrosive, and maintenance in an ever-moving environment is hazardous and tricky. This blog post's video shows one solution to the problem. Instead of using the movement of water to run a turbine, it's used to run an induction coil. Click through to the video for a fuller explanation. It is an elegant solution to the problem of turning moving water into electricity. Next, superweeds. The blog Escaping the Bench has a thoughtful piece on this problem. The post goes into detail on what is and what is not a superweed. Basically, the term is a media creation and not a scientific one. In layman's terms, though, a superweed is a plant resistant to one or more herbicides. Given that the majority of GMOs are grown in conjunction with herbicides, and that the general use of herbicides places a genetic selection pressure on the weed so sprayed, the question posed is, do GMOs cause superweeds? The blog suggests no, the GMOs themselves do not cause the superweeds, but the production method could. Basically, the process of genetic engineering, that is the creation of herbicide resistance in a plant, does not per se cause the problem for superweeds. It is the application of herbicides which does this in an evolutionary way. Click on the link in the show notes to read the whole article. It is well worth the read. And it's that time of the year for some of you. Kidding. No, seriously, kidding. It's a wonderful time of the year. The blog Homesteading EDU is experiencing this joy. Kidding is a wonderful time of the year. After all new life is wonderful. For those of us who describe themselves as goat people, and I am one of them, there is no better time. Kids mean milk, milk means milking, and the wonders of the routine. I only ever milked in the morning rather than twice a day, but I wasn't under a debt cloud to produce milk to pay off the banks. I did it for the household supply. Any thoughts on the differences between once a day and twice a day milking would be greatly appreciated. Email me at podcast@worldorganicnews.com. Hosted by Jackie Marie Bio out of Eureka, Montana, the Organic Gardener podcast is a great listen. Episode 134 is an interview with Jess Pearce on the production method known as biointensive gardening. Developed by John Jeevons, biointensive gardening is an extremely hands-on method of production. Double digging garden beds, hand watering and so on. There's nothing wrong with this, just be aware of what's involved. Jess tells Jackie about her light bulb moment with soil, food and people. I heartily recommend you listen to this podcast, subscribe to it and tell all your friends about it. And now a word from our sponsor. This episode of the World Organic News Podcast is brought to you by Gem Biscuits. Gem Biscuits make gluten-free, sorghum flour-based biscuits and cookies. Choc chip, hazelnut choc chip, coffee hazelnut choc chip, and the original spicy tea biscuit. All these are handmade with, of course, organic ingredients. These biscuits are the bomb. Please check out the website gembiscuits.com. That's JEMbiscuits.com. A link is in the show notes. And now to the complete book of Self-Sufficiency by John Seymour. This week we delve into the section Natural Energy. Seymour divides this section into 5 parts. Always the practical man, his first part deals with energy-saving ideas. It is, after all, always easier to save energy than to produce it. Seymour's focus is on the household, but the effects of saving energy across all households can be enormous. So things like insulation, double glazing and so forth. The low-hanging fruit available from retrofitting. He does not describe design principles for a new home, but a simple Google search for solar passive housing will give you all the info you want, and then some. The energy for the water section describes the basic types of water wheel common in the recent past in Western Europe. There's a small nod to more modern turbines. It's worth remembering water wheels go back a long way. The ancient Egyptians, the Romans and the ancient Chinese all developed this technology. Little thought and a whole lot of exciting experimentation will lead to a site-specific solution for you. Solar energy in this section is confined to water heating. This is no bad thing. It's just that the solar panel, for want of a better word, revolution, was some decades off from the writing of this book. Nevertheless, water heating is a big part of energy usage. Have a look at Seymour's suggestions, for they too can be retrofitted without too much effort or cash. Wind energy, somewhat iconic now, was also big in the 1930s, before electrification connected most of the Western world to grids. The generators Seymour discusses were just starting to undergo research. They're not overly efficient, but they're certainly serviceable. Fuel from waste is available everywhere, either to be burned or anaerobically composted to produce biogas. The result is heat. Heat that originated in the sun, was converted to plant material and is now available for burning, or was fed to animals and is now available for digesting. Seymour makes the point, all energy sources are, ultimately, solar energy in a different form. Think on this, it has implications beyond the obvious. Next week we will commence the section on crafts and skills. This will take a few weeks to get through, but it will be a most enjoyable trip. Any suggestions, feedback or criticisms of the podcast or blog are most welcome. Email me at podcast@worldorganicnews.com. A transcript of each episode is available on the blog www.worldorganicnews.com under the tab Podcasts. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back in a week.